Hey, we're back again. It's time for some more after winter mixing. Hope you guys are ready for a bunch of stuff today because we got some stuff to do. Hey, we got a couple of viewers already. How's it going, everybody? And to you, if you know what that means. Do you know what that means? You should know what that means, or maybe you don't. We'll find out. All right, so let's get right down to it. I'm going to make my big dumb face a small dumb face so that we can take a look at what we are working on today. Now, the After Winter album is coming along very nicely. We are getting very close to this thing being done, which is nice. Now, when I say very close, I don't mean a couple of days. Maybe a couple of days if I could just sit and work on it and do nothing else. But we are actually quite a bit a ways away still from that perspective. So we've got almost everything tracked. We have like 95% of the album tracked, and now I have begun the arduous task of mixing. So we spent the last couple episodes working on different aspects of mixes for different songs. We've almost got first pass mix for the entire album. Now, recently I took all of the mixes that I had done so far, put them into one project laid end to end like it's going to be on the finished product, and listened to the whole thing. And I had some thoughts. And most of the thoughts were that everything sounded a little bit muddy, and it was often really hard to tell what was going on. So for today's episode, I want to go back to the first full-length song. So the second track, the first track is like a minute and a half. It's still a song, but it's really, really short. It's just an introduction to the album. So the first official song on the album, Left for Dead, I want to go back to that and try some stuff out to see if we can get it sounding just a little bit clearer. Now, I'm feeling pretty good about this. I think we're going to be able to do some good stuff with this. And if we can, then we'll start kind of moving across the other ones and applying whatever changes we make to the other ones. Hey, Matt, how's it going, man? Good to hear from you. Haven't seen you for a while. Hope you're doing all right. Good to see you, man. Yeah. So let's kind of start off by looking at what we've got going on. I know you guys are probably aware of this, but After Winter really, really went all out for the whole album, really. This particular song currently has 100 audio tracks in it. That's a lot. Now, to be fair, I should digress a little bit. Not all of them are audio tracks. A lot of them are auxiliaries carrying different effects and different sums. So saying 100 audio tracks isn't technically correct. But there are 100 tracks of important things going on. That's a lot. And so it's really easy to get muddy, right? Very, very, very easy for stuff to stop sounding all cohesive. And that's kind of what we're working with. The first thing that I want to take a look at is this auxiliary right here. I need to make sure this is not behind my head. This one that I've just highlighted called Drum Crush. So this is applied to the drum track. Let me actually solo that up for you so that you guys can kind of hear. This is a very interesting sounding track. Yeah. So no bass drum. This is snare, reverb, the toms without their reverb, and then the overheads. And then we are sending that to this and then compressing the absolute crap out of it. That's why this track is called The Drums Crush, because we are crushing. I mean, with compression, we are flattening this thing. And then we are mixing that signal back up in to give the drums a little bit more punch. And that's one of the things that I want to take a look at. I feel like there's a chance that the presence of this at all might be one of the reasons that we are muddy. It could be that the drums don't necessarily need that extra heft when we have all this other stuff going on. So first off, I want to kind of just jump into a complex part of the song here and start kind of muting that on and off, and just seeing if we can tell a difference. Now, it's going to be a subtle difference. I'll warn you that, especially if you're just watching this on your phone, odds are you're not going to hear a difference at all. It's going to be a subtle difference. But with these fancy mixing headphones, I'm hoping that I will start to hear things a little bit more clearly. Let's check it out. Okay, 1 second. I just noticed that you guys are not hearing that. I think I know what I've done wrong. Yep, okay. It's easy fix. Easy fix. as soon as the computer figures out what it's doing. Ooh, technology. There we go. Now you guys are hearing it. Okay. Okay, yeah, no, I just in that it is again, it's a very, very subtle difference, but I definitely think I'm getting a little bit less just general noise when it's off, especially in the cymbals. Let me play a little bit more for you guys, and hopefully you guys can see this on your screen. If you want a visual representation of when it's off and on, check out this track that's highlighted right here, this strip, and watch this little M right down here near the bottom. Yeah, there's Dad on YouTube. Whenever this M lights up blue, like that, then it is off. So if it's blue, it's off. If it's not lit up, then it's on. So listen specifically to the sound of the cymbals. Yeah, so again, very, very subtle difference. But I think for now we're going to operate with that turned off. Now, having said that, I have intentionally thus far mixed the drums a little bit lower than I normally do because I wanted to put a little bit more emphasis on the guitars, and I'm starting to feel like that was a mistake. So the next thing I want to do is highlight the bass master, the rhythm guitars master, the pianos master, the orchestra master, what else we got? Synths master, lead guitars master, basically everything that's not drums. I'm going to grab all of those, and I'm going to turn that down by 1. Let's start with 1. Let's take another listen to this. I want to jump to a little bit further on into the song, and I want to get those drums popping out a little better. Okay, yes, I think that's better. I also think that part of the reason we're getting a little bit too much density is because what Sam is doing is just up a little bit too high. So I'm going to take, for now, and we might change this, again, this is all circumstantial, I want to take the pianos and the orchestras and the synths down an additional decibel so that we can hopefully get a little bit more in the way of guitar. Okay, we're on the right track. I want to keep moving in this direction. Already I'm feeling a lot better about this. The guitar sound is something that I want to work with a little bit because I want to get a lot of clarity out of this guitar tone without it stepping on other instruments. And I think that's one problem that we're having. We overhauled guitar tone for this album. So everything that we've ever done prior to this, except for the brand new song that we just put out, Within, if any of you guys heard Within, our Halloween song, every song we've done prior to that. So all of the bio stuff, all of the extra stuff we did with every bit of bio stuff, plus regression, under fire, and light displaces darkness, James was recording through his Line 6 amp. If James is watching, he'll have to let me know. Is it Spider 3, James? Is that right? Your half stack Line 6? I always forget. And then, of course, I had the Digitech RP500. We've always used that. And for Within and on this album, we actually used amp simulation. We're actually going through the Archetype Petrucci. So, you know, being the Dream Theater nut that I am, I discovered I have access to something that John Petrucci himself had a hand in trying to make the best guitar tone. So we've tried that out, and I like it, but it's very different. Frequency response wise, it's very different to what we normally have going on in our songs. And so I think it's arguing frequency wise, arguing with stuff, especially that Sam's doing, that it normally doesn't interact with at all. So we may want to try and find a happy middle ground. We don't want to go completely back to the old tone, or there was no reason. Okay, James does say, yeah, it's a Spider 3. Okay, that's what I thought. But I think, and I don't hate the guitar tone as is, but I think I want to mess with it just a little bit. Same thing with the bass drum. I don't hate the bass drum, but I experimented with something not too long ago, just the other day, in fact, and I really liked the result. And the bass drum in that project was recorded right around the same time and on the same drum set as the AfterWinter stuff. So real quick, I want to see if I can pull in some stuff from this other song. So the bass drum is one. No, I don't think I need the toms. Yeah, we're gonna pull in the Rhythm Guitars Master 2. Let's just start with these two things, and maybe we'll pull in some other stuff too. Yeah, so you can see a very different, this right here, this highlighted track is the newer bass drum that I was just messing with, and it's quite different. So I want to, yeah, I think I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of these effects and copy this over. And we can get those back later if we need them, so they're not truly gone. And then let's hear the difference here. So bass drum. Ooh, that's some solid bass drum right there. Yeah. So this works to make it a little bit sharper than it was. So let's take a listen. Let's go a little bit further into the song. Let's check that out. That's with all the effects turned off. Yeah. Okay, so that should help the bass drum come out a little bit clearer without needing to be so loud. Yeah. Okay. So I'm liking that. There's some other things in the drums that I want to mess with, but let's also take a look at the guitars now since I pulled that in. Yeah. So slightly different idea with the guitars. Hey, Wyatt's here as well. How's it going? What's up? What's up? What's up? Do I want to just straight up get rid of the old stuff? Yeah, I know where I can find this stuff if I want to get it back. So let's just go ahead and swap effects. Okay. Yeah, I like that. In fact, I think we can even stand to turn those up a little bit now. So most of what that did was it got rid of some of the really, really top end, which just sounded like this weird digital mess. And it also got rid of a little bit of low mid. So we left room for more bass guitar, more drums, and more of what Sam is doing. And we increased a little bit of this high mid so that we could get a little bit more definition out of what the guitars were doing. I.e., we can turn them up further without them taking up the frequencies meant for other instruments. All in the name of clearing this up and getting it to sound a little bit smoother. Okay, so we've got that. Now we need to start doing like kind of a whole listen through of the entire song so that I can make sure that we're not, really ruining anything else. We haven't used these drum levelers on the toms. Let's get rid of that. But there is some other stuff going on in the song that I want to address. Before we start doing that, there's a few other things that I want to work on a little bit. I'm not super happy with the snare sound. Again, it's not awful, but it's just a little bit muffled. I want to get it a little bit, I want to get it popping out of the mix better. So let's listen to the drums. Okay, so I think part of it is the snare reverb. The snare reverb is surprisingly MIDI. So this EQ that we're looking at right now is just applied to the reverb on the snare. It's not applied to the snare, only that reverb sound. Check this out. So this is, oops, 1 second. Yeah. So this is the virtual room that we've stuck the snare drum in to make it sound bigger. So when he hits the snare drum, we didn't want it to sound like "puh." It sounds like "pa," right? So if we put the snare in there too, as opposed to that's kind of strange. Oh, right. Right. So now let's look at what's going on in the actual snare track. So I think we've increased the high end on that snare reverb. That ought to help a little bit. That's surprising. But it's probably this. It's probably the distressor. I'm going to try this. This might be... What do we have going on? Okay, let's do this a different way. Yeah, so let's look at an EQ. This is now applied to the actual snare track. I'm going to solo the drums. Okay, well, I'm seeing a problem right off the bat. So what you're seeing there is a visual representation of the frequencies we are hearing in the snare. Look at it again. So all that bottom end, all this stuff down here, that's unnecessary sound. That's 100% why this still sounds muddy. We don't need all of that down there. So if we apply this right here, this is called a high shelf. It means it's high pass, high pass filter, meaning that it's allowing the high frequencies to pass through and it's cutting the low frequencies out. Yeah. Yeah, so already that's made another difference in making that snare a little clearer. Look at it again when this is gone, and you'll see this big line down here of bass frequencies rising. Yeah. All that's unnecessary. That's just adding in not only sounds that's getting in the way of the bass instruments, but also when we get down here around like 30 hertz and below, we're not even hearing that. The human ear is literally not even capable of hearing those frequencies. Just get them out of here. Okay, I also think I want to add a little bit of high end to try and get it to stop sounding muffled. I want it to have a little bit more clarity. Let's look at that and see what that does. Okay, so at least with the drums on their own, that sounds pretty good. Hey, Harry's here too. How's it going? Good to see everybody. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We are doing some cleanup. So let's put the rest of the track back in and take a listen and see kind of what we've got going on.
Cold sweat. I am alone in my bed. I need to take breaths out and in. Keep calm, adjust to my surroundings. I'm in a nightmare. This shocking scene, like nothing from my memory of my detective years. Scarred my brain. God, I ask you this: how did I become such a mess? Am I in my home? Or am I stuck inside my head? Am I safe within these walls? She seems so real to me. It was far too late, such an undeserved fate. A marking on the wall. The picture blurred within my mind. These lines not yet defined. She seems so real. The alley painted red, and the woman left for dead. Suffocating me on all four sides in this cubicle of fear. Sweat running down my neck, my heart pounding in my ears. The people that surround me, are they sensing my unease? Is my imagination running wild without a break to lead? For reasons unknown, I find myself lost inside that dream, my thoughts returning to the sea. It seems so real to me. Vivid details fills my breath of the woman burned to death. Detective Stone.
Hey, Riley, we need you down here by the old club on Cattell Avenue. There's been a murder.
A murder?
A known prostitute. It's a mess down here.
I'll head straight there.
we're getting there. I'm definitely feeling a lot better about the clarity of the mix. That was a long listen to that one too. So yeah, this is going to be some pretty crazy stuff. Also, I am 100% confident. I have played this song on stream before when we were working on rebalancing the vocals, but the dialogue was brand new. So if any of you happen to catch that, that there's some dialogue in there now that has never been there before. A phone ringing and then a phone conversation between Magenica's character Riley and Harry's character Sergeant Orion. So that's pretty neat. That's recently added to the song. And another thing that I was frustrated concerning, it was hard to understand what was being said in the dialogue because there's just so much going on in the background. I didn't necessarily want to turn the music down. So all of this work to get this a little bit clearer should again work towards getting that dialogue out there clearer as well. Let's take another listen from the beginning, and I'm going to keep making minor changes. Oh, one more thing before we do that, I almost forgot. There's some Tom stuff that I want to take a look at. I really feel like all of these channel EQs shouldn't be necessary on these Tom tracks. And same thing with this. We've got a compressor over here that I'm just not sure is necessary. What's going on with this multipressor? Yeah, I think we can change that range also, if I'm being honest. I think we can pull that down to 200. Let's find a place that has a lot of toms in it. Yeah, Tom Master. So, okay. That multipressor is working. What if we take this out? What if we take the compressor out? That is adding some top end. It's not anything we couldn't do with an EQ. I don't know. It's adding a lot of just stuff in there that I don't like either. So how does it sound without these EQs? Yeah. I kind of like it better without the EQ. Definitely like it better without the EQ. Okay, well, that makes up that. One thing I think I started doing later, let's look. Is there a pan envelope? Yes, okay. Okay, so I've already taken care of that. Anytime Eli hit the floor toms together, here's a spot I missed. I've been trying to pan the one floor tom out to the left speaker instead of the right speaker, so we get this nice wide tom fill, but only when he hits the two floor toms at the same time. That's kind of one. Yeah, let's leave that as is. Here's another one. So I went through this, but clearly I wasn't paying that much attention. See, there's another one. Just helps improve that stereo image. Okay, so there's a couple of things that I want to keep an eye on now, and that is how much we are peaking. So now that I've made significant changes to how the toms sound, let's just get rid of those. The EQ and that compressor that we got rid of, let's just get them out of here. I want to see how much we are peaking in the song. So this little green number right here represents the loudest sound happening in this auxiliary, which is the sum of all the tom tracks together. And if this slider were at right at 0, then we would hope for that green number to be -7 or somewhere around there. So what we're really looking for is for that number to be something like negative 9.5. That's what we're hoping for. So we'll see what that hits as we listen to the song. Kind of the same thing on the drums master. Right here, you can see where it says negative 10.1. If it weren't behind my head, we're hoping for that to be like negative 7 or thereabouts. And since we've made some pretty significant changes to the drum sound, it was hitting negative 7 before, but it may not be now. So let's just kind of see where we're at. Let's listen to the whole song, start to finish, no stopping. I'll be making some adjustments here and there, maybe, if I hear some stuff, and we'll take a look at all of those peak meters.
Hey, Riley, we need you down here by the old club on Cattell Avenue. There's been a murder.
A murder?
A known prostitute. It's a mess down here.
I'll head straight there. Complete despair eats at me from the inside. The scene before me can't be real. How can this be possible? The truth I dreamt must be revealed. The scorched ground in a twisted form, exactly as my mind remembers. Her innocent eyes and her hollow scream, left broken and dismembered. Why has this been revealed to me? Prophetic vision from my dreams, a terrifying deadly scheme, pulled straight from my memory. Just like I've been here before, details not unclear anymore. A marking on the wall, the number 2109, some significance of time. What could all this mean? Sleeping traveled from my bed to this woman left for dead.
Very nice. Yeah. No, I'm feeling so much better about this. Oh man, I'm glad we did this. Okay, so a few things that popped out to me. That on that run through, where did we end? Our toms ended almost perfectly. They're at negative 9.3, and we said we targeted 9.5, so that's perfect. Our drum master should be at negative 7, but it's at negative 6. But it spent most of the song. At negative 8, and then a couple of snare fills in chorus 3 is what jumped it up. It jumped up to 7.6, then it jumped up to 6.1. So we should find those fills and turn the snare down a little bit so that it remains around negative 8. Then we can affect from there, and that will allow us to turn our drums up a little bit more and probably everything else up a little bit more as well. Actually our router, which is behind my head right now, but it's this one. This one is supposed to be coming in at around negative 5, and instead it's negative 6.8. So we're well below the full mix volume that I want. We're almost 2 decibels below that volume. So we've actually got quite a bit of upwards room. There's something that I want to check out in the gap right before the second chorus that I think is Eli sticks clicking together. Man, I've been finding a ton of that. I'll tell you what, guys, that's the sort of thing that I normally would not have let pass during tracking if I heard, the seat squeak or the sticks click together, or if he, set the sticks down on the snare when the song was over before the cymbals had finished decaying. Normally I catch that and we can get that gone. But since I've been like really critically listening to all this stuff in a mixing environment, I have been catching a ton of it. And I think I'm going to have to take some sort of action to try and fix it, even if it means taking clean cymbal hits from elsewhere on the album and sticking them in place of what's already there. We don't want that. You know what I mean? The lengths that we've gone to for immersion on this, to let something like that ruin it would be ridiculous. I'm really frustrated with myself that I didn't catch that during tracking. And then also the telephone effect on Harry's voice during the dialogue is a little abrasive, and it's still kind of hard to tell what he's saying, and it's because of that effect, the effect that I put on it to make it sound like he was talking through a telephone. So I want to take a look at that too. First things first, let's take a look at those fills in the third chorus. So the reason that our, drum master bus is going up to -6 when we want it at -7. We want to identify the fills that are doing that. So let me just start it at chorus 3 again. We're going to watch this right here. We want to see the point. There's one that jumps it up to 7.6. So we'll look for that one first.
This been revealed to me. Prophetic vision from my dreams. A terrifying, deadly scheme. Pulled straight from my memory. Just like I've been here before. Details not unclear anymore. A marking on the wall. The number 20.
Okay, right there. There's a little flam. Yeah, right here. Da da da. We can see it right there. So that very first hit is what does it. So we don't need to turn that down by much. We want to equalize it back down to around 8. So if it's currently pushing it up to 7.6, did I say? Yeah, 7.6. We can see it right there. Really, we just need to take this down to -7 right there. So theoretically, if we play this part again, and now look all the way to the left of the screen, so this over here is now what we're looking at. There's our peak meter right there that says 7.6. So hopefully this now should read like 8.1 or something.
The number 2109.
Perfect. Okay, now we need to find that one, and it's right at the end of this chorus that jumps it clear up to -6. So let's find that one.
Some significance of time. What could all this mean? Sleeping trouble from my bed to this woman left for dead.
Right there. So it's funny because it doesn't look that loud, these two, but just the culmination of the 2 tracks plus all the effects we've got on it have done that. So this one we actually need to take down to -8.5. So of course it won't go to 8.5. There we go. So now this should again peak at -8.1.
To this woman left for dead.
Perfect. Okay, so that's that problem solved. That means that we can go back to our drum master, open up our virtual mix rack that's on that track, this thing right here. And then over here, we've got a trimmer that's taking 0.5 decibel off the end. We can actually put that back to 0. So that should get our drum thing peaking at around 7.5. Where's our drum? Okay, that's actually there. You know what? Let's take that a step further and have this trimmer actually increase by 0.5 decibel. That way we should get our drum master peaking now right around -7. And that means we should theoretically be able to turn all the rest of this up by 1 decibel. Yeah. Just like that. That hasn't brought everything up perfectly equally. That's kind of annoying. Yeah, that should be 0.5. That should be 0.5. Why has it done that? That one's okay. Yeah, the rhythm master was already at a weird thing. That's okay, but the bass should be at 0.5. Okay, so that should have brought the overall volume of the entire song up just a hair, which means hopefully we'll be able to get our router peaking at -5 or somewhere around there. If not, we'll take a look at what we may need to increase to get us to that point. So that's a big thing out of the way. Now let's see if we can find that stick hit. So I'm pretty sure it was in the gap before the second chorus. So let's listen to the drums by themselves. See if you guys catch it. It's quiet. It's barely there. Did you guys hear it? It's in the gap. So he goes 3 cymbal crashes, bop, 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 and then sticks together, and then he comes back. I can't believe that's coming through in the actual track. I can't believe that. That's insane. Okay, but here's the problem. So theoretically, we could just cut. So that's going to be coming through on the overhead tracks, which are these 4. Theoretically, we should just be able to cut where that stick hit is and get rid of it, right? But there's a problem with that, and that is that the cymbals are decaying. Specifically, the ride cymbal is ringing out through that section. So if we cut that, that means the ride cymbal is going to cut off, and that's going to sound real weird. So I want to try something, okay? This track right here is the ride cymbal mic. This is the mic pointing directly at the ride. So what if, can we cut out that stick hit on everything but that track, and will that be a compromise? The stick hit will still be there, but because we've reduced the amount of volume on all the other ones, it might be quiet enough you don't notice it anymore. And additionally, will this allow the ride cymbal to not sound weird, since we're leaving the mic pointed directly at it on during that? It might work, it might not. So let's check. So we're gonna scissors. Let's see if we can find directly where is that stick hit. We can't see it pretty much no matter what, but it's right around here. And if we now grab our fade tool and fade this track out, clear up to where that hit is. Okay, so let's listen. Remember, what we're listening for is, I don't think the stick hit will be gone, but it might be quiet enough now that you won't notice it. The real thing I'm worried about is, does the ride cymbal suddenly sound different when those other tracks fade out? We're just gonna have to listen to it in the context of the whole song. I didn't hear the stick hit. Didn't hear the stick hit. The ride cymbal sound absolutely changed, though. But it's not necessarily distracting, so maybe in the context of having all the rest of the music, it'll be okay. Let's listen. The good news is the stick hit seems to be gone. I didn't hear it at all. So as long as this sounds okay in the context of the music, I think we fixed the problem. Oh, it helps you turn the rest of the music on, right? That was the whole point.
For reasons unknown.
I think it's okay. Somebody throw it out there. I got 5 people supposedly right now watching. If you're hearing that change, say something. I hear it change. I hear it, but I don't think that the average person is going to. So if that's true, then really the question becomes, can I live with the fact that I know it's there now? I'm going to hear it every time. I want to try one more thing in regards to that. The main thing that I'm hearing now is that rather than the ride cymbal being kind of sitting right here, this is weird looking at it. So the way we've got this panned, the ride cymbal is supposed to sound like it's sitting a little bit closer to your right ear than to your left. And the combination of all the mics achieves that. But because we've deleted 3 of the 4 mics, now the only track that's on is the ride cymbal track, which is panned down here. So suddenly the ride cymbal moves from being right here to right there and then comes back. So can I This is nitpicky, I'll admit that. Can I put a pan envelope set to bring the right cymbal back to the center? See what I'm doing there? So this track that's supposed to be almost all the way in the right, for the amount of time that it takes these to fade out, in fact, I guess really we need to set it there. And then we need another node so that it stays in the center. And maybe we don't even need it in the center. We need it like here. So will this combat that?
For reasons.
Okay, that wasn't it, but I am now confident that this will fix the problem.
For reasons.
Yeah, it's right. It's almost there.
For reasons unknown.
Oh, I love it. I'm so glad that worked. Given we should not have had to do this. But okay, so in case this is still confusing, in case anybody's not really following what happened, all 4 of these tracks are picking up the cymbals. So we got a mic pointed at the hi-hat, a mic pointed at the right cymbal, and then 2 mics up above the drum set picking up all of the other cymbals and just the general drum set. So the combination of those 4 microphones makes our stereo picture of the drums. So it's not any one mic. If you solo one mic, everything's going to change. So we got the hi-hat panned almost all the way left, the ride panned almost all the way right. And then because we have the 2 hanging mics up there, it kind of puts it into perspective from how it looked to Eli while he was sitting there. So wherever the ride cymbal was physically in relation to him, that's where we want it to sound like it's coming from. Because we got rid of 3 of the 4 mics, our stereo picture changed. Now the ride cymbal, instead of sitting right here a little bit to the right, like it was with the 4 mics, when those in this gap right here where the other 3 tracks are gone, that ride cymbal suddenly sounds like it's down here. And that's distracting. I don't mind that it sounds like it's down there, but the fact that it suddenly changes takes me out of it. It ruins the immersion a little bit. I don't want to hear that ride cymbal moving. Like in that gap, Eli picked up the ride cymbal and suck it down over there. You know what I mean? That doesn't make any sense. So what we've done is we've automated the knob that determines what speaker something is coming out of. This little green line right here represents where in the stereo field the ride cymbal track comes. So when it's down here at the bottom, that means it's coming out of the right speaker. So for the amount of time, in fact, we can even adjust this a little bit, that these tracks fade out, the ride cymbal track slowly comes from down here up to about where we were already hearing the ride cymbal. So that by the time the other 3 tracks are gone, we're hearing that ride cymbal right where it always sounded. And then when the other 3 tracks come back, it jumps back down where it should be. Hopefully that made sense. I feel like that explanation was still a little bit confusing. But essentially, we've prevented the ride cymbal from sounding like it moves suddenly further right. Let's listen to that one more time.
For reasons unknown.
Oh, I love that so much. I was very nervous that wasn't going to work. So I'm a little bit giddy that it did. That's cool. Okay, what was the other thing? Harry's dialogue. We need to look at some EQ on Harry's dialogue track to see if we can get his... we want to retain the sound of the cell phone, because he's not there physically in the scene. He's talking to Riley on her cell phone. So we want it to sound like he's coming out of a phone, but we still want to be able to understand what he says pretty much. And I feel like there's just a really abrasive frequency. So here's an EQ. Let's listen to that part and look at what frequencies we're seeing, because I would expect something in the high mid area, so maybe somewhere around 1K is what I'm expecting, for a frequency there to be especially jumpy. Let's listen.
So,
Hey, Riley, we need you down here by the old club on Cattell Avenue. There's been a murder.
a murder?
A known prostitute. It's a mess down here.
I'll head straight there.
Okay, so it might have been a little bit higher than I was expecting. I'm seeing some stuff around here. So let's try reducing the frequencies around that point and see if that helps.
Detective Stone.
Hey, Riley, we need you down here by the old club on Cattell Avenue. There's been a murder.
A murder?
A known prostitute. It's a mess down here.
I'll head straight there.
That was a little better, but it wasn't getting me what I was expecting. I'm going to try moving this bump actually down here to the lower region. So somewhere more around like 500 or 600 hertz.
Detective Stone.
Hey, Riley, we need you down here by the old club on Cattell Avenue. There's been a murder.
A murder?
A known prostitute. It's a mess down here.
I'll head straight there.
I have this on the right track, right? Yeah. Okay, just pretty much no matter where I'm putting this, I'm not hearing a difference. Let's listen to just the dialogue soloed.
Hey, Riley, we need you down here by the old club on Cattell Avenue. There's been a murder. A known prostitute. It's a mess down here.
Yeah, okay. So look at that, right around 1,000, at least when it's soloed.
Hey, Riley, we need you down here by the old club on Cattell Avenue. There's been a murder. A known prostitute. It's a mess down here.
Yeah, there's also another frequency that pops up when he says it's a mess down here. And I think that's just a natural, the sibilant sound of the S when he says mess makes it, gives us the feeling that there's suddenly too much high frequencies. I want to reduce the high frequencies just generally.
Hey, Riley, we need you down here by the old club on Cattell Avenue. There's been a murder. A known prostitute. It's a mess down here.
Yeah, so you notice that right around mess. And also you can even see this little peak right here that when he says down. So we're gonna pull a little bit of weird stuff here. We're gonna reduce those frequencies right around there. Let's listen to that. Just when he says it's a mess down here.
A known prostitute. It's a mess down here.
Yeah, just immediately, that's so much more clear just by reducing that. Now, we don't necessarily want to lose those frequencies for the rest of it.
Hey, Riley, we need you down here by the old club on Cattell Avenue. There's been a murder.
Maybe I changed my
A
mind.
known prostitute. It's a mess down here.
Yeah, at least when it's by itself, that sounds a lot clearer. I was going to have that particular peak turn on right when he says it's a mess down here, but maybe it's okay. Let's turn everything else back on.
Detective Stone.
Hey, Riley, we need you down here by the old club on Cattell Avenue. There's been a murder.
A murder?
A known prostitute. It's a mess down here.
I'll head straight there.
Okay, yeah, it's quiet now. Looks a little bit like we don't have a huge amount of room to go up. That's to be expected when you make something sound like it's coming out of a phone. You're deleting a lot of frequencies, so it's going to naturally be a lot quieter. Let's actually just put a gain plug-in on this and boost it up by about 4.
Detective Stone.
Hey, Riley, we need you down here by the old club on Cattell Avenue. There's been a murder.
A murder?
A known prostitute. It's a mess down here.
I'll head straight there.
Much better. Very good. Okay, also, there's another quiet section right here. I think it's when he says there's been a murder.
On Cattell Avenue, there's been a murder.
Yeah, even kind of when he says avenue is quiet. So let's turn all that up.
Hey, Riley, we need you down here by the old club on Cattell Avenue. There's been a murder.
A murder?
A known prostitute. It's a mess down here.
I'll head straight there.
Yeah, it's still kind of hard to hear, hard to tell what he's saying when he says it's a mess down here. Let's turn that up just a little bit more. And then I think I also want to get the word prostitutes a little quiet. That's important to the plot of the story. So let's get that.
A known prostitute. It's a mess down here.
I'll head straight there.
Very nice. Guys, I think we got this one whipped into submission. I think this is sounding a lot better than when we started. At least I'm certainly enjoying this a lot more sound-wise than before. I think we've got this thing sitting where we want. I do want to, not because I heard anything, but just for consistency's sake, I want to fade this a little bit so that we don't get any hard pops or clicks when it ends. Same with the bass, because there is a pretty hefty hiss on that. All that bass stuff at the end was actually from the demo. That's actually Dad. I think he was just messing around. Dad's probably still watching, so he can confirm or deny that. I don't think he intended for that to be in the finished product, but I got so used to hearing it on the demo, and I liked it, that I just felt like it needed to be there. So there's some extra hiss on that particular part of the bass track because it wasn't recorded with the idea that it would be kept. So, let's take a listen to that ending real quick. All that bass stuff, and then also I want to hear this fade out that I just stuck on there. Oh, yeah. Okay, so that hiss kind of just like suddenly drops off way before the track actually ends. Where does that hiss stop? Right there. There we go, that's better. Okay. Another kind of funny thing about this ending is the way the guitars kind of like flicker on and off. It's just like the buzz during these bass things, and you hear this weird kind of like flicker thing. That's not intentional, but again, I kind of like it. Yeah. And again, it works with the weird bass thing that's going on right there. Not intentional, but I like it. Okay, let's give this thing another listen, front to back, and then I guess let's pull up the next one and start applying these same changes to that. So right now the computer's got this weird thing going on where I can't access the album on the external hard drive that it lives on. It needs to be in the computer's internal memory, but this album is so big that the computer's internal memory can't handle the whole album. So while we're listening to this, I'm going to have to send the next song to the internal memory so that we can work on it. Speaking of that, I don't think we need to clean up, but let's see. Oh, I guess we do. Okay. Just make sure that the computer knows to get rid of unneeded files here. Good. Okay. All right, let's get listening.
Club on Cattell Avenue, there's been a murder.
A murder?
A known prostitute. It's a mess down here.
I'll head straight there.
Nice. Yeah, no, I think that's coming along really well. We're still, the router is only peaking at 5 or 6. It's supposed to be at 5. So we can actually bring, again, we can bring the overall volume of this whole song up by 1, which is essentially unheard of. That's crazy that the culmination of all of that together is not hitting harder. Our drums are at 7. Awesome. Cool. There was another weird little drum thing that I thought I heard. I want to just give one more thing a little check. It's probably not a big deal, but I want to look at it nonetheless. I think it was in this. Okay, actually that may not be a drum thing. I think I might have just heard the click track a little bit. Okay, yeah, do you guys hear that? So there's 2 toms, da-da, and then a click right after it. Da-da, click, da-da, 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 and it's the click track. It's nothing Eli did. It kind of sounds like a hi-hat. Now the question is that only on the drum channel? Because we've also been having issues with the click track coming through the bass a little bit. Yep, it's on both. That's probably why we're hearing it. Again, not a big deal. You could 100% chalk that up to Eli closed the hi-hat a little bit right there. It's not necessarily distracting, but again, if we can, this one should be a lot easier to erase, so why not? There's no cymbals or anything decaying while this is happening, so we should be pretty easily able to snip this one out. So the click is happening right there. Yeah, so we don't even have to cut that much. Just like that. Okay, cool. I feel like there was one other nitpicky thing that caught my ear, and I don't remember what it was now. Must not have been a big deal. I'm sure we'll catch it later at some point. I mean, we're still certainly not done mixing this song. I just feel a lot better about it now. So I also I want to be able to review all of this stuff. So let's go ahead and bounce out a new mix of this basically. So yeah. This isn't really the first pass anymore. How many times can I get away with calling a mix a first pass? Let's do it again. Let's just let's replace this one. Okay, in the meantime, okay, yes, we do have Losing Myself in here. Technically, we need to update all these effects on Sleeping Torment as well. Maybe we ought to do that one too. That one will be quicker. That song's only like a minute and a half long. Let's go ahead and get that one in here as well. Okay, we're going to temporarily keep Left 4 Dead in here. I try to cycle stuff in and out to keep the computer's memory from getting too bogged down, but we're going to need to pull in stuff from Left 4 Dead to these other ones. And then we can start cycling them out after that. Ooh, computer is hissing. It's doing a lot right now. Yeah. The bouncing always takes a long time for these Afterwinter songs too. There's just so much. You know, the computer is trying to process 100 tracks worth of stuff and information in a 9-minute song. I don't think Left 4 Dead's quite 9 minutes, but it's really close. 8.5 thereabouts, I think. So I've also got a running project that contains all of the mixes so far so that I can listen to them the way they're going to be presented on the album. There aren't a lot of full stops throughout this album. There are a few, but for the most part, a lot of the music just kind of slowly fades in. So for example, while Left 4 Dead is fading out, the next song is fading in. So again, that's for immersion's sake. That's not a very album thing to do, but it is a very concept album thing to do. This is meant to be consumed as 1 hour and 40-minute long piece, more than here's a cool song and here's another cool song. You know what I mean? As if we weren't niche enough. Yeah, we've done that to ourselves as well. But I think it's going to result in something pretty special. So it looks like we're getting to the end of our bounce here so that we can roll over to Sleeping Torment really quick and get all our new stuff. Now, I am terrible at remembering stuff, you guys, so you may have to help me out here. It's important that we remember what we changed in this song. I changed the bass drum sound. I changed the snare sound. I changed, what else did we change? We changed the overall drum master. We changed the toms a bunch. We changed just about everything to do with the drums. We changed the rhythm guitars. And then other than just general fundamental volume changes, I think that's it. Okay, so we've got that. That's all in now. So real quick, let's open the full album test. Here we go. All right, so this is the album as it stands so far right here. So we just need to come over here to Left 4 Dead, delete the old one. We need to really delete it. And then import the one that we just exported. There it is. There we go. Sweet. Okay, so now let's open Sleeping Torment and apply all the same changes to this one. So we need to import the bass drum, the snare drum, all of the tom tracks and the tom master, the drums master. We need to mute the drums crush. We got rid of that. We need to pull in the rhythm guitars master. And that should be it. Okay, let's put all that at the bottom. So we're going to access Left 4 Dead here. We're going to grab all the things that I just listed. So bass drum, all of this stuff to do with the snare, even the reverb we changed. All of the tom tracks. Actually, how many tom tracks are in this song? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, all of them. The toms master, the drums master, rhythm guitars. Yeah, okay, I think that's it. And we're going to put all of that in this song so that we can replace the effects. Cool. Okay, so let's grab all of our drum, well, yeah, the drum related stuff is almost all of it. So we did, just today, guys, we've basically done a complete overhaul of the drum sound of this album. Woo! Grab this stuff and pull it up here. Yeah, okay. Let's grab this stuff and just pull, what do we got? I want to set this to overlap. And let's just put this stuff literally down onto these tracks, just like this. Were there any volume envelopes? Nope. So we can now delete those. And then, what was the... Okay, so there is a volume envelope on the actual snare auxiliary, which is this. Ugh. And we need to replace the effects here. This and this. Also looks like I turned that down a little bit. We need to replace the effects on the snare verb. That's interesting. Wait a minute. Okay, the computer did something real weird. Never seen it do that before. Huh. We don't need that anymore. We're good on that. I don't think we changed anything about that, but let's just go ahead and copy this over anyway. Which means we can now get rid of that. Okay, so that's the bass drum and the snare drum successfully overhauled. You know, we can actually get rid of this big snare verb. I've put it in every song, but I've not used it once. It's been completely off the entire time. So next is all of our tom stuff. So let's grab all of this and pull it up here. And I think let's just pull the effects over. So we're going to get rid of the virtual mix rack. Well, yeah, we didn't actually need to do that. Oh well. And we're just going to copy these over one by one. All of the effects from Left 4 Dead. Oops. Now applied to Sleeping Torment. Good. So that will allow us now to delete these. And then we just need to replace the effects here. So we actually changed all of the effects on the Tom's Master. Looks like we didn't change the volume. Perfect. So that's good now. Oh, right. Since we put these on new tracks, we do have to change this. So this needs to go there, right? And then this just needs to go to bus 6. Right. Yeah, that should be all. Now we've got our drum master. So we also changed the virtual mix rack stuff on the drum master, so we need to stick that over there. We're definitely going to have to keep an eye on how much the drum master peaks. You remember we had to change some stuff in Left 4 Dead on the snare track so that it stayed at -7. So we need to do that for this as well. Oh yeah, and then the rhythm guitars was the other big change. Yep, let's just replace all of these effects. And then we can also actually turn this up, it looks like. Okay. Now also I know that recently when I listened to all of this, the pianos in this song became way too quiet. I think I turned them down at one point and then didn't listen to it. I was just trying to declutter, kind of like what we've been doing here, and for some reason didn't listen back to make sure it was okay. So we ended up with a way too quiet piano. Okay, so I do need to set this so that you guys can hear it. So 1 second here while I set up your audio driver. Have we ever played Sleeping Torment on stream? I feel like we haven't. There we go. Okay, so let's do a quick listen through of this one, and I'll potentially make some adjustments. But theoretically, this should sound pretty good just as is. Let's roll. Yeah, so that's our intro track. That did sound pretty good. I think there's a couple of things I want to do just to kind of help here. There's a couple of frequencies on the piano that get really annoying. Just like what we were kind of talking about with Harry's dialogue vocal, there's just some sort of weird abrasive frequencies that jump out every once in a while. It's not with every hit, but hopefully we can fix that. And then again, right when the guitars come in, when everybody hits, the piano just suddenly kind of gets lost. It just suddenly disappears within everything. Also, the drums are only peaking at -8. We need them at -7. The whole thing only peaked at -7. We need it at -5. Wow, and we've actually turned everything up once already. Wow. Okay. Well, let's do a little bit of work here. Can we turn up that? Look at that. Over here, our snare and bass drum are only peaking at -10. That's very strange. You would think they would all be about the same. Okay, so we can increase the volume of our drums by 1 decibel, which means then theoretically we can increase everything else by 1 decibel as well. Cool. Some of them didn't go to the right volume for some reason. Good. Right, so we want to try and fix those annoying piano frequencies. I actually think the dialogue could stand to be just a little bit louder. By the way, that is me falling. If anybody caught that sound effect right near the end there, I spent like, I don't know, maybe half an hour or an hour one night with a mic on the floor and then just falling in front of it, trying to get this idea that the main character is falling over. Hopefully that's not taking anybody out of it too much, knowing now that that's me falling over and not Magenica. Okay, so let's take a look at those piano frequencies really quickly. We're actually going to need to open up a second channel EQ on the pianos. It's right there, that right above 800, like I guess it's probably right around 900. We've got that frequency that keeps jumping out, and it's abrasive. There. There's another one. Yeah, cool. We're getting better there. I think I'm still going to turn Magenica's where, oops, not that much. Where am I a little bit louder? The pianos were better. I think we got those frequencies, but still, the piano just disappears when the guitars first come in. Look at that, I've actually turned it down. Why have I got it turned down right there? Must have been some previous iteration of the mix that it felt like they were too loud when everything came in. All right, well, let's try keeping them here instead of turning them down and seeing what that does. Might ask Magenica to redo that Where Am I? It's not exactly what I was looking for. I'm not sure why I didn't catch that when she did it. Okay, I'm liking this. I think everything's really good. There is a guitar lead that I want to increase just a little bit. I don't want it to be the focus of what's going on, but basically I can't hear it right at the moment. So let's try increasing that a little bit.
Where am I?
I can't believe that the router is only peaking at -7. That's insane. Like, we could literally turn this song up 2 more decibels to bring it up to the level that the other songs are at. It feels just as loud as the others. That's crazy. Crazy. All right. Yeah. I mean, let's roll with that. Okay, so we need to make another bounce of this. So again, we're going to be stealing the first pass name. This is just kind of an edit of the first pass more than it really is the first pass. Okay, so after this, we should be able to roll over to Losing Myself. And once we've pulled in the elements for that song, we can actually get Left 4 Dead back out of the internal memory. As soon as we get this put into the album test fades project, then we can actually get rid of Sleeping Torment too. Okay, so let's roll over to full album test. And we will get rid of Sleeping Torment. Now we're going to import the one that we just did. Perfect. It even looks louder than Left 4 Dead. Some weirdness going on there. I'll have to keep an eye on that. Okay, I actually do want to run back to Sleeping Torment really quickly and just make sure that there's nothing in there that needs a cleanup. Just so that we're keeping the amount of memory low. Nothing. Okay. So now let's open up Losing Myself. Perfect. Okay, so now we can actually get Sleeping Torment back out of the computer's memory. So what we're going to do is delete the version that's on the external hard drive. Copy over the version that we just messed with so that all of our changes are current. Excellent, and now we can delete it out of the computer's memory. I really hate that. I really hate that we have to do that, but unfortunately, it's a Mac and a Logic problem, and they need to fix it. I know there are a lot of people mad about it, and they just Apparently, Mac doesn't care. Okay, so here we are in Losing Myself, so we need to pull those same elements over here. So we need to look at Left 4 Dead, and we need the bass drum and everything to do with the snare drum. We need all of the toms, well, and the tom master. We need the drum master. We need the rhythm guitars master. And I think that's all we determined. Ooh, there's another... No, there's not Harry dialogue in this one. Okay, so we don't need his phone dialogue. That is something we're going to have to change. I need to think about that. What other songs have Harry calling Magenica? Or rather, the sergeant calling Riley. So grab all of these. I think this is all we need. We'll add it in over here. Okay, and now do I want to leave Left 4 Dead in the memory for now? I think I do. Let's just leave Left 4 Dead just for safekeeping, I think. It's not going to hurt anything too much. Speaking of that, let's go ahead and see if Losing Myself needs a cleanup. It does. Look at all those tracks we don't need anymore. So we've deleted all of those. Same thing over here. We're good. So we've just reduced the amount of space that Losing Myself is taking up in the computer's memory, which is always a good thing. Okay, let's go ahead and apply all of our changes. By the way, I had a look at YouTube earlier while Left 4 Dead was playing, and I noticed that there was a comment on there from Dad that has not shown up on my streaming screen. So if you happen to have commented and I just didn't respond to it, my apologies. Apparently it's not always showing me the comments, which is rather annoying. What's it even there for if not that? Okay, so we've got lots of stuff to adjust. So on the bass drum, we're going to get rid of these two things. And we are going to pull over this stuff. We're also going to adjust the volume down to -14. For the snare, we're gonna, I don't think we actually changed that, but I'm gonna replace it anyway, just in case I did and I'm just not remembering. We need to increase that volume. Yep. We definitely messed with this, so let's get rid of that. Pull over this and this. Looks like the volume is already set where we need it, so we can delete that. We messed with the reverb a little bit. Let's just replace both things. I don't think we messed with the actual reverb plugin, but just because. Perfect. It looks like we left the volume alone, so we can delete that. So that's the snare taken care of. I am going to go ahead and delete the big snare verb again, just like we did last time. I'm going to mute the drum crush while I'm thinking about it. Cool. Oh, good. Look at that. We already have black hole set up. Also, good. So you guys will be able to hear this when we get to playing stuff. Okay, so how about our toms? I forgot to bring the, toms master. There we go. So on our old tom tracks, we do, again, we have all 6. 1, 2, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Yeah, okay. We can just literally get rid of all of these plugins. And then we just need to pull them over one by one from Left 4 Dead. Perfect. And then we messed with our toms master, so we're just going to replace all of these. Just like that. And then the last thing we need is our drum master, So we messed with, I think we only messed with the virtual mix rack, but let's just leave it as is for now. and then we can delete that. And then the last thing we need is our rhythm guitars master. And again, we just need to get rid of all of the previous effects and apply these. Now the rhythm guitars looks like they're already considerably louder in this song than they were in Left 4 Dead. So let's leave that volume where it is already and see what we want to do with it. Okay, so theoretically we should be able to just basically jump right in and see if anything else needs done. Yeah, let's do it. Let's just let's start a listen from the beginning and see what we hear. I forgot to turn on the limiters. Yeah, that was a little quiet, wasn't it? I'm gonna hear this again. What? No, it wasn't that.
Are you losing yourself? I don't believe so. God is...
Okay. God is nice. Yeah, I think that was, for the most part, that was also really good. There was a few other things that I wanted to change. A few things that I think need generally rebalanced, which is a different day project. The main thing, and I feel like there was something else that I've already forgotten, is another one of those little drum things. Now, this one I've known about, but it wasn't bothering me for a long time. Recently, it started bothering me, and it's in this gap right before the first verse. There's a hi-hat close. So take a listen here. And I don't know why that wasn't bothering me. But again, we're going to be dealing with a very similar problem here of the cymbals are decaying here. And we're going to be interrupting that if we cut that right there. So just out of curiosity, if I mute the hi-hat track, what does that do to that sound? It lessens it, but it doesn't get rid of it. So, what cymbals do you suppose he's hitting right there? One cymbal, because there's a snare drum too. That's definitely the 18-inch cymbal. So here's what I think we're going to do. So we have an extra 18-inch cymbal for something else similar that happened. Yeah, I think what we're going to have to do is cut pretty close to immediately right here. Like that. And then right on this hit, we're going to have to put a clean cymbal hit. Did I fade that? No, I didn't. That would have sounded very bad. So we also need that to fade out like immediately. Perfect. So didn't hear that edit. I don't know about you guys. So we successfully got rid of that little hi-hat close. And also it doesn't sound weird that this suddenly disappears because we have a nice clean hit of that cymbal triggering at the same time. Yeah. So now we should be able to turn everything else back on. Perfect. These vocal echoes are killing me. Okay, I remembered another thing. So there's a really bad guitar noise going on during that riff that we were just listening to, the da 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 da, and it's the guitar squeak of the strings. So the distortion and gain is just really, really bringing that out, that squeak. It's almost overtaking the riff, those squeaks. Now I did see that on my de-esser there is a preset setting called guitar squeaks or something to that effect. Let's take a look at that really quick and just see if by some miracle fixing this particular problem is going to be as simple as just sticking that on there. Guitar squeaks right here. So just out of curiosity, what does that do to this part? You know, it didn't get rid of them, but I gotta admit that sounded way better. Check it out again without this on. And then now one more time with it on. I do wish that it would do a little bit more. Let's try turning up this amount knob and see what that does. Okay, what happens if I crank it all the way? Only hearing a slight difference. Just out of curiosity, what happens if we crank the sensitivity also? Okay, I think it's it's definitely taking out too much high end when we do that. So what happens if we turn the sensitivity up? Interesting. Okay, if we return the sensitivity to 50%, just out of pure curiosity, I've currently got that on the Rhythm Guitar's master channel. So what happens if instead of that, we put an instance of this on each guitar channel so that it's targeting the squeaks on each individual channel rather than the collective squeaks of the entire thing? That's way worse. Okay, well, we tried it. Now we know. Okay, so I can definitely live with how it sounded on the master track. Yeah, with that amount knob cranked. Honestly, I want to hear what it sounded like without it cranked again. Yeah, I can live with that. Now, having said that, I think this is dulling the guitar sound just a little bit, so I don't necessarily want this on other than in this section. Now, this does happen. This section happens, but shorter earlier in the song. Let's turn the de-esser off and listen to that earlier section. Yeah, sounds like it could use it there as well. Oh, you know, this is actually dulling the sound a lot. Wow. Okay, wow, that's not sure why I didn't catch that. Eek. All right, let's put that back to 50%. Okay, maybe this isn't the answer. Dang it, I thought we'd found a nice, easy answer. Okay, well, new plan. Let's take a look at the EQ we've got going on here and see if we can see a particularly bouncy frequency during that part. Right there, I think. Let's grab this and see if we can target that. Maybe a little wider. A little taller. It changes frequencies too. It's not always the same sound, which is why it's hard to get rid of this way. We could go overboard and fix that. Absolutely. This is better. I'm just questioning whether we want to fix the whole thing or not. In that measure 50 is where it really bothers me, because it goes and I don't like how loud it is. It sounds like something like a snail or something, some sort of slimy creature. Oh, I don't like that one bit. Well, for sure we can at least this helps it. It's better like this at the very least. Oh, I should have looked at what peak that is. So that's peak 3. So again, I don't really want this on all the time. So if we can peak 3 on and off, so we can actually set this to turn on and off in the sections that we want. So we're going to do that. So just for this particular section, we're going to turn peak 3 on. And then same thing, I think it was measure 40. Yeah, so we can also turn it on during measure 40. I kind of want to fix it, guys. Oh, that's so annoying. Okay, let's not spend all night on it, but let's see if there is an easy fix. So I'm going to open a second EQ and just really take a look at measure 50. We want to try and find what frequencies that because it's going to be different frequencies each time. So let's try increasing and see if we can find it there. I'm going to actually loop this measure. It's going to be super annoying, so apologies in advance. Okay, I think we've got it. In fact, I don't even think we need to move. I thought we were going to have to move a bunch of stuff. Okay, so let's do this so that we don't have to have 2 channel EQs on here. Let's copy these settings here. So we're at 1820. Negative 18.8. Whoops. I seem to have moved the wrong thing. There we go. This one. 1820. Negative 18.8. And 250Q. Okay. And that is peak 4. So we get rid of our second EQ. And just for measure 50, we need to turn peak 4 on. Just like that. Okay, so theoretically, this should sound a lot better. Yeah, it's not gone, but it is a lot better. It's not overtaking the entire riff now that it's there. So I think we're sitting much better in that regard. There was also a vocal thing, and I think I fixed it. We're just going to have to do another listen through to make sure. Oh, I just remembered another thing with the dialogue. So we got this scene where Riley comes home. We introduce her brother Thomas at this point. So this is Jerry's first dialogue. And she comes in from the left. So you hear her in the left say, "Thomas, are you home?" And then over in the right, you hear him say, "In here." And then what happens after that? She walks, so you hear her walking from left to right. And then now, because she's closer to Thomas, he talks again. He says, "What's wrong? You're white as a sheet." But he's a lot closer now because she's standing closer to him. But it's very jolting that suddenly he's so close. I just don't think there's enough for it to make sense that he's so close to her now. So I want to reduce the amount close to the center he is. I'm actually going to pull his in here a little bit closer as well. And then same with Magenica. She's currently at 30, but I think I'm going to put her at 20, so she's also a little closer to center. So let's listen to that little exchange again. Yeah, that was better. Now, part of his dialogue is weird now, too. When he says sheet, it's like gone. And we've already turned that up quite a bit. Let's just crank it. That's annoying. That time I felt it get louder, but I still couldn't really understand what he was saying. And the word, let's face it, the word sheet is really a word that we don't want to not hear clearly. I mean, I think to be fair, it's clear based on the context what it is that he's saying. But let's go ahead and add an EQ again. Take a look at when he says sheet here. So yeah, it's very low. I'm feeling like we might get more clarity out of that if we dip the bass range right when he says sheet. But again, we don't want that to be during his entire dialogue. So we want that to just come on right when he says the word sheet. Now that is peak 1. So we want to turn it off. I want to highlight the word sheet here. Not hearing any dialogue. Why wouldn't we be hearing dialogue? Oh, the dialogue master is not sent to the correct thing. That's why. Okay. Well, now I know. Dad just said something. So thanks. I probably wouldn't have even noticed that that wasn't sent to the right thing. Okay, let's check this out again. Let's play it from the beginning, since you guys didn't actually hear it at all. From the beginning of the dialogue, rather.
Thomas, are you home?
In here.
What's wrong? You're white as a sheet.
I don't know where to start.
Yeah, that's better. And now we should be able to crank the word sheet a little more.
What's wrong? You're white as a sheet.
That's better. Yeah. I think I actually want to take the rest of the dialogue in that particular section down a little bit. It's still just a little too jarring that suddenly he's just right there.
What's wrong? You're white as a sheet.
Okay. I think I actually want to take that EQ down even a little bit further. So right when he says sheet, let's take it down to 7. In here.
What's wrong? You're white as a sheet.
I don't know.
Did you guys see that peak pop in there just for the word sheet and then disappear? Watch the EQ screen again. It's pretty funny watching it. Just boop, and then it's gone.
What's wrong? You're white as a sheet.
I don't know.
Dumb things crack me up. Okay, let's do another listen through. We're just about out of time for tonight, but we got time for another listen through from front to back. Just see if anything else pops out, and hopefully we'll have enough time to mess with it if anything even else does jump out as not being right. So, one more listen. From the top.
that God is here to help you to endure.
Thomas, my dreams have become real. I'm losing stability.
What makes you believe this? What have you seen?
I dreamt of a woman burned and an alley painted red. I arrived on the scene today, and there she lay dead. Am I losing myself? Am I losing my mind? Is this how you feel all the time? Brother, I am lost. The truth has been concealed. Brother, please help me understand if it is real.
Relax, Riley, take another deep breath. I'm sure that you're fine. Take this book and feel its wisdom. Remember God in these trying times. Remember God, just remember God. Are you losing yourself? I don't believe so. God is always here for you to help you heal and grow.
Not bad. For the most part, I am digging that. I think I want to hear the strings overall just a hair more. And the only other kind of nitpicky change, I think I want to go back to the rhythm guitars. And in the intro, I want to give a little bit more to the da 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 da. So those parts that we were messing with where we were taking frequencies out, I think are actually just a little bit quiet in comparison to the rest. So I want to just try giving those a little bit of boost. And luckily we already know where they are. One is here at measure 40. I still heard those string squeaks a lot more than I was wanting to, but I don't think that there's anything beyond what we've already done that we can do to help it. So let's just give the guitars just a hair of a boost when that happens. And then also in this same riff, when we get the squeal, we'll have to listen to see where that is because I'm not sure. Those seem a little bit loud. So similarly, we'll just cut those a little bit. Let's identify them. There's two of them. Yeah, you see it just kind of jumps out there. And it's nitpicky. It's not a big deal, but I think we might as well go ahead. Let's see if 2 decibel reduction is too much. It was just a hair. Let's increase by half. There's the other one. So then we should be able to do the same thing. So we ended with a 1.5 decibel reduction, which of course it won't do. Yep, won't go to 4.5 from either direction. There we go. Nice.
The strength and bonds formed when we were young.
Vocal effects. Okay, yeah, I think I'm good with this one as it stands. So that is all that we have time for tonight for as far as live streaming goes. So we have done a ton of work on this, and I know it can seem a little bit frustrating that instead of getting that last big one started, that we're going back and still making changes to these, and we're still not done doing that. If I'm being completely honest, this project is incredibly important. I feel like I'm speaking for the whole band when I say for everybody. It's very, very important, and there's no reason to go halfway on this, right? This better be the best sounding thing by far we've ever released, or we have failed all of you and ourselves. So I am absolutely going to go back through and nitpick this as much as possible. Also, there's not really any point in me starting the last one until we have stuff like this figured out, right? We made significant changes to the drum sound and the guitar sound, so there's really no point in first pass mixing the entire last song if we don't even have the actual tones established, right? So this is kind of like a back and forth game of figuring it all out until it sits right. And then once we've got a first pass of the entire album and it's generally pretty good, that's when it's time to go back through, go clear back to Sleeping Torment and go through it one by one, really, really critically listening to details. Are all the fills loud enough? Are any fills too loud? Is there bass parts that aren't popping out the way they should? So basically we're doing little details now so that it's a little bit less work by the time we get to that. I'm also going to be listening to it on our brand new fancy VSX headphone system, which is going to simulate lots of different kinds of speakers so that we can see what this mix is going to sound like translated to several different kinds of speakers and make some compromising changes here and there to hopefully make this album sound as good as possible no matter where you're listening to it. So I'm looking forward to doing that as well. It's all very, very time consuming, but worth it in the end to get this amazing product out to you guys sounding as good as it possibly can. All right. I think we are good. I'm going to go ahead. I should have had this thing bouncing while I was blabbing just now, because I think we're good to go ahead and call this a new version of this song. All right. So let's go ahead and get on out of here. Thank you guys so much for clicking on this and watching me work and listening to me blab, having a little bit of conversation. Like I said, I think this thing doesn't always show me every single comment. So if by chance you commented and I did not acknowledge it or respond, my apologies. I try to acknowledge every single comment that comes in. Apparently it doesn't show me every single one. So hopefully we've done this as correctly as possible. So yeah, if you're watching this right now, or if you're watching this in the future when it's not live, and either way, in any case, thanks for clicking on this, and I hope you enjoyed the content. We got plenty more where this came from. As far as I know, we should be back next Friday, maybe a little bit later. Keep having students wanting Friday night spots, so it might not be getting started until more like 7:30 next week. But as far as I know, next week we should be back doing some more work on Paramnesia and maybe some other stuff. I've actually got another project that is ready for mixing. So I've started mixing that other project. The project that I've alluded to several times is now 100% completely tracked, and I want to get that thing mixed and mastered so that I can get it off my plate, don't have to worry about it anymore, and I can focus on getting Paramnesia completely done. So we will be back next Friday, if not maybe a little sooner, depending on what happens. We'll see. Either way, I will talk to you guys then. Thanks one more time, and I will see you later.